Welcome to Good Influence. It's me, Gaye. I hope you're having a good week. It's nice to see you again. Today we're going to continue our series on self-care. Last week we talked about self-care for the body, and I hope you found some ideas in it that were interesting or inspiring for you. And today we're going to talk about self-care of your mind. I have 3 suggestions for today. I'm sure there are many other ways to take care of your mind, but today I'm offering up 3 ideas. So the first suggestion I have in self-care for your mind is exercise. Now you're going to be like, wait a minute, you talked about that last week, which is true. I did. But there is, of course, a mind-body connection. And as good as exercise is for your body, it can really work wonders for your mind as well. Now, hear me out. I still do, have issues with anxiety and depression. But I will tell you that after exercising regularly for several years now, those symptoms have practically completely dissipated. So there is definitely a connection between the two. First of all, exercise releases those awesome endorphins. So not only right after you've exercised, but really if you do it often enough, all the time, it will help boost your mood. So that's one thing that exercise is great for. Then the second thing that's great about exercise is every time you exercise, you know you're doing something good for yourself. So that also helps increase self-esteem, help your mood. And then the last thing about exercising, which is really great, is that if you start seeing results from eating well and exercising, then that also boosts your self-esteem and your sense of well-being. I exercise enough now that I can really tell the difference between days that I haven't exercised and days that I have. And I can go for a day or 2 without exercising and not feel any difference. But by that 3rd day, if I have not exercised, I really start to feel it up here. And it's great because I can see the difference it makes, and I know what I used to feel like without it. So you may be like, Gaye, exercise, we get it. Let's move on. So I'm moving on. So the next thing we want to think about in self-care for our mind is we want to protect it. And you may think, well, how do we do that? Well, I will tell you how. One of the things that we really need to think about is that we live in a society that is largely based in fear. It's unfortunate, but it's true. So all of that watching of the news, all of the reading of the horrible stories, all of that stuff is not great for you. So I'm going to suggest you turn it off or stop reading it, as the case may be. Now, listen, I also think it's really important to be informed. So I'm not suggesting that you just never watch the news anymore or you don't know what's going on with the world, because I think that's really important. But I do think there is a limit to how much you should expose yourself to it. I don't like flying, like a lot of people. And a couple of weeks ago, when there was that horrible plane crash in Iran, I started reading about it, and then I kept reading about it, and then I could feel myself start to have anxiety and start having, my heart rate was picking up, and I started to really go down the rabbit hole. And I thought, okay, you got to stop. And so I did. I got the facts that I needed and I turned it off. And really, that would be great for all of us to do. I know it's so easy to get absorbed in a story. And like watching a car crash, like wanting to find out every detail, but it just isn't great for you. It isn't. If you feel like you're getting angry or worried or anxious or any of those things, just step away. It's like with children. When they're doing something that they shouldn't be doing, we redirect them, right? We, move them away from the furnace and move them, towards playing with their toys. We want to do the same thing with our eyes and with ourselves. Take care of yourself and step away. This is also true for social media. So if you have a particular person who drives you crazy on social media, or there's a post that is really making you angry, or there's a thread that you just is driving you crazy, or if there's someone who, is living their best life and you're going crazy about that as well, step away. I'm not suggesting you unfriend them, because I think that we live in a world that's divided enough already. And if we unfriend everyone who doesn't believe the same things we do, then we're going to end up in our own tiny bubbles even more than we already are. And that doesn't help anything. So I'm not suggesting that. You can snooze them for a little while. You can unfollow their posts so that you can just check in every once in a while and see what they're up to. But you have to take care of yourself. And just like you would your beloved child, take care of yourself that way. Move yourself away from the thing that's making you crazy or making you angry or making you afraid, and take care of your mind. Protect it. Okay, so that's the second thing. And the last suggestion for today for taking care of your mind is putting a halt to the negative self-talk. Now, if you're big into self-help like I am, then you will know what negative self-talk is. But if you're not, then I will tell you, we all have that little voice in our head. And sometimes that voice is really helpful. If it says, don't go into that dark alley, probably want to listen to it. But a lot of times that voice is not helpful. It says really mean things to you. It says, you're too fat, or you're not good enough, or you're never going to be able to do that. And let me tell you something, that voice is not you. It isn't you. It is just a voice. And you can choose to listen to it, or you can choose not to. So just like we want to redirect our attention away from Facebook or away from the news, we also want to redirect our mind from the negative thoughts to positive ones, or just tell the negative thoughts to be quiet. I have a mean voice in my head too. Usually it says, you're too old. But sometimes it says, you're never going to make it, or you're not that talented, or who do you think you are? It is really mean. And just like I'm not going to talk to my child that way, or let someone else talk to my child that way, or talk to a friend that way, I'm not going to let that voice talk to me that way either. And you shouldn't either. It's not okay. Remember, it's not your voice. It's just a voice in your head. It's not coming from deep within you. It's not coming from God. It's not coming from your soul. It is just a mean voice. So how do you turn it off? Well, it takes practice. Practice, practice, practice. And there's a lot of methods to quiet it down. Some would suggest that you thank it for chiming in, but tell it to go sit on the sidelines right now because you don't need to listen to that voice right now. Some would just say to tell it to be quiet, to shh. And some would say to redirect your mind. And that's what I try to do, is just think about the positive version of that. Instead of saying you're too old, you're never too old. Or instead of saying you're too fat, you're getting healthier all the time. So find ways to quiet the voice, to speak kindly to yourself, and watch what happens. The more you do it, the better at it you will get, the less you will hear it, and the more you'll believe the things that you are, the good things that you're telling yourself. And the quieter you can get that negative voice to be, the more space you will have in your mind for all of the good stuff, for kindness, for creativity and imagination, for self-belief, for generosity and goodness, and spreading all of the wonderful stuff that we're trying to do here. It won't happen overnight. It will take practice. And sometimes you'll find it's louder than others. Like when you're trying to do something new or outside your comfort zone, sometimes that voice gets even louder. And so you just have to practice harder and try harder to quiet it down. But you can do it. As I said, it's a choice. And you can choose positive thinking and turning off the negative thoughts. So that's the show for today, folks. Those are my 3 suggestions for taking care of your mind. I hope that you found them useful or inspiring or something. And I hope that you will share with me in the comments some other ideas you have for self-care of your mind or of your body. I would love to get more of a conversation going around all of the topics that I have talked about so far. And please like and subscribe and pass it on to friends if you're enjoying the show. I had a friend do that for me last week. Thank you, Pam. And I thought that was really awesome. So thank you very much. I'm getting new subscribers all the time, which is cool. And this has been lots of fun. So next week, we'll be talking about self-care of the spirit. And of course, it feeds in with the mind and the body as well. So we'll be talking a little bit about all of it holistically. So I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope that you are kind to yourself, that you will think kind thoughts for yourself, that you will protect your mind, that you will not go down the rabbit hole, that you'll take care of yourself, because it will make you more able to take care of the people around you, to take care of our world, to be a good influence in your little corner, and to spread your sunshine wherever you can. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you back here next week on Good Influence with me, Gaye Coffman. See ya.